I had two great birthing experiences in a hospital, and I defend that to some of my more natural friends. That being said, I do think there are some problems in the system to be aware of, and these are some things that I wish I had known going into my births. You do not have to listen to everything the nurses tell you to do. You can advocate for yourself and your baby. You can bring a birth plan and tell them what kind of medication you're comfortable with, or if you'd prefer, they not even mention the epidural. They do have options available. They do have bathtubs in some of the rooms. They do have yoga balls or birthing balls, whatever you want to call it, that you can bounce on. They might tell you that you can't do certain things, but try pushing back nicely to see if there's anything they can do. I feel like they might answer in a way that makes you feel like they're saying no, but if you just push back a little bit, they might actually be able to help you. A small example of this was me initially being told I couldn't eat anything when I was going through my first labor and delivery experience. Early on, I actually had got induced, which is a whole nother thing, but I felt like I had to listen to everything the doctors were saying. So I got induced because I had high blood pressure and they were worried about preeclampsia. But then they had told me, okay, you're not going to be able to eat. And then later I ended up getting to eat a full meal because the shift changed and it was a different doctor or a different nurse on duty who did allow me to eat. So I feel like you can push back on things. In a hospital, it feels kind of like scary and like they're the professionals and you have to listen to them. But it's not a prison. Like it's somewhere that you can still make choices for yourself. Like you are a free adult. You can choose if you want to eat or if you want to be able to stand up and walk around or if you want to get into a bathtub. So I would just really recommend going in with a birthing plan and going in prepared to advocate for yourself and also to advocate for your baby. I honestly wish I had questioned them wanting to induce me for Asher. His birth story does have a few concerning components that I was able to learn from. The induction, they also took him away from me as soon as he was born and did deep suctioning, which I think is a major contribution to the reason why he had problems latching in breastfeeding. So there's so many things, and I'm definitely not trying to scare you, so please don't hear that. Like I mentioned in the very first sentence of this video, I had amazing experiences in the hospital. I enjoyed my time there. I just know that if I had advocated or even just asked more questions for myself and for my baby, I would be able to look back with no regrets. So if you are a first-time mom, or even if you're just watching this because you're pregnant again and you don't remember, or you're going into a hospital birth and just trying to get as much research in as you can, I just urge you to push back, advocate for yourself, and ask questions. The truth is, the nurses have been trained to push for the path of least resistance. They aren't going to think outside the box for you, which is fine. Hospitals run like a well-oiled machine. It's our job to fight for ourselves, which can be pretty intimidating when you don't know what you're fighting for. So I want to list a few things that I would fight for. Think about what will make you the most comfortable ahead of time and come with a birth plan prepared. It didn't really seem like they cared about my birth plan, but it also reminded me to stick to it. Ask whoever is going to be with you in the hospital to be familiar with what you want and help you push for it as well. Obviously, if you're in labor, you're going to be a little loopy, a little out of it, in pain or on the epidural or whatever. So it's good to have someone else there to fight for you as well. Know if you want medication and what the options are before going into it. They will say things that push you towards the epidural, but from what I've heard, you usually feel like you can't go on right before you do actually give birth to your baby. So don't let anything they say push you into getting an epidural if you're hoping to go the natural route. I did have the epidural for both of my births. If I have future kids, I think that I'm going to go in and try to have a natural birth, but I haven't decided for sure. I just think you should kind of have that decision made before going into the hospital. Get your baby on your chest right after birth. If they do want to take them away, ask questions, ask about what they're doing, and if you can have them back, please. They took both my babies from me, and the first time it really did cause some damage for our breastfeeding journey. The second time I knew better, and I asked for them to give her back multiple times, so she was only away from me for a short amount of time, and I got her back on my chest, and that actually did regulate her breathing because she felt my breathing. So obviously doctors or nurses, they do know better medically, but just ask them questions, ask if you can have them back, and try to really fight for that in a kind way. It's important to remember that they are just doing their jobs, and most are really great people. I don't want to paint them into villains at all. You just have to know what you want and not back down. Another thing to know is that they have everything you need for postpartum care and for your baby in the hospital. You don't need to bring anything special. Whatever you pack in your hospital bag is just for your own comfort and convenience, so don't stress about it. I think it was kind of a fun thing to pack my hospital bags. I made videos about it on my other channel, and I enjoyed it. But don't worry about bringing the essentials because they will have everything. They will have diapers, wipes, even little outfit for your baby. They will have pads and the Frida peri bottle you don't need because they have a different kind of peri bottle that I thought worked just fine. So whatever you bring is really just for your own comfort. I would recommend bringing something that makes you feel comfortable, something like soft and warm and cozy. You can order as much food as you want. So my husband ate the hospital food with me, so we saved a little bit of money that way. But order a while before you're hungry because it usually takes a bit of time. So I gave birth in 2 different hospitals for my 2 different kids, and they were both pretty similar. We actually enjoyed the food. It was fine. Obviously, it's kind of like cafeteria type food, but it was pretty good. Especially the breakfast was good. We got like French toast and sausage, and they won't question how much you're ordering. So go ahead and order 2 or 3 meals and enjoy yourself because you're paying a lot of money to be in a hospital and give birth. You can ask them to leave you alone. So with my first, they were coming in all the time because he had low blood sugar and other problems with not latching, and my blood pressure had been up and down, so they were checking us all the time. It was so much smoother and more enjoyable my second birth. They left us alone, and we were actually able to sleep and bond. So I recommend asking for the bare minimum check-ins. Obviously, we want to be safe and healthy, but again, you can advocate for yourself. You can also probably leave the hospital sooner than they say. I'll let you decide on that and ask them to get out of there. But I did kind of push for leaving sooner on my second birth, and we had a much smoother ride. We just told them we don't want to wait to leave anymore. We're ready to go. And they have to respect that. Again, you're not a prisoner. If your baby has jaundice, there are alternative light therapies that don't involve taking your baby away from you for hours. So keep that in mind if it comes up. I wouldn't worry about it before, but just make a mental note right now that if they do say something about having to take your baby away to put them under the light and you won't be able to hold your baby, you won't be able to nurse them, just maybe ask for a different option. Let them know that you've heard of a different therapy and that you'd like to look into that before they take your baby away. As much skin to skin as you can have, the better for everyone's health. So skin to skin time is simply just your baby being on you without any clothes in between. It's pretty obvious, but just in case you don't know. And it's actually good for the father to bond with the baby as well. So we did skin to skin time between our babies and my husband. And then lots and lots of skin to skin time with me and the babies. So that's why a lot of people say, and I would recommend bringing like a robe, one of those light material, like soft fabric. Target has great ones, those robes, because then you can easily just have open access to your boobs so that they can breastfeed. Skin to Skin really helps with breastfeeding. It really helps with jaundice. It boosts your mood. It helps you with postpartum hormones, and physically it helps you. The more that your baby is latched and nursing, the more your stomach, or I don't know, all the technical terms of like what all down there is contracting, but your muscles contract and go back to the way they're supposed to be. So I highly recommend doing that as much as possible and getting in that bonding time with your baby as well. Yeah, I really did enjoy my hospital experiences, so I don't want to paint them in a bad light. I just think it's very important to go in knowing that you have rights. It's your body, it's your baby. So fight for yourself, have a plan going into the hospital, and try to stick to it and push back on the nurses if they are going against your wishes. I wish you all the best, especially if you're pregnant with your first. It's such a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful bonding time between you and your husband, and for you to just embrace something that women have been doing for thousands of years. It's so amazing. And whether you choose to go the more natural route, whether you end up having to have a C-section, whether you choose the epidural, all births are beautiful. All births can be a good experience, and you can have a good story. So I hope that you are encouraged. If you liked this video and you'd like more videos like it, then please do subscribe. I'm trying to focus on the original design for motherhood and share any kind of tips, tricks, videos that I can as a mom to encourage and support other moms with young kids in this season of life. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.